Hello, everyone. In this video, I'm going to make a sampling files in the CODAP platform. Make use of some data sets provided in the platform. So this is an example. You can follow the link under the video to find this file, and you can make this online. And it is based on the memos, a data set of some memos here provided in the website, and then we're going to draw some graphs and also make a sampling simulations. Okay, so all these will be demonstrated in this video. Okay, now to start with this, we can go to the CODAP website. This is the main page, and you can click here to try it. Okay, just open the blank page. Okay, so this is the blank page for you to draw any graphs or data analysis of data sets. And here they provide some examples. Okay, so you can also create your own and import your data if you like. Here I just browse through those examples. And in this set, we can find the memos of the data set. Okay, you can select this one and open it. And by default, they also provide some sample graphs based on the data set. Okay, maybe we can just clear it now to start with something different. Okay, so these are graphs that you can make easily. Now here is the data set. Okay, so you can see a list of memos with the information, and we have several variables: lifespan, height, mass, and so on. We'll just concentrate on the lifespans of these sets of memos. And to show it graphically, now you can select a graph. Here, this is a blank graph to start with. Even you can see some dots here. It is not a scatter plot. Okay, it is simply just random placement of the items on the blank page. So if you click on each dot, then you can see the corresponding item here. Actually, I can click it, and then you can see the corresponding item in the table. Okay, but they are just simply randomly put in the blank page here. Okay, until you select some variable to organize them. Okay, let's say I want to see the heights, okay, distribution. Then I click on this variable and drag it here on one of the axes. Okay, then you can see the height distributions of the mammals. Or this is the sleep hours. You can also drag it here. And you can also actually select two variables. Okay, and then you can see now you have a scatter plot. Okay, and then you can clear these variables anytime you like. Okay, so we can remove this one. You can also select one variable, numerical variable in the x-axis, and then you can also select a categorical variable. For example, let me see. Okay, habitat. Okay, we have two main habitats included, which is water, land, and both. Okay, there are three. Okay, then you can see that the data set is now split into three categories. Okay, so that can be very simple. Now we'll use this method later in the sampling distribution as well. Okay, now we remove it and only remain the lifespan data variables on the axis. Here we can now indicate the mean or any other parameter you want to show. Okay, here I show the mean and the standard deviation of this data set. Okay, the next step is to create a kind of sampler plugin, okay, for you to produce some kind of sampling distribution and experiment. Okay, now here it is the plugin. You can select sampler, and now we have this interesting, useful sampler tool for drawing, okay, randomly items from a list. By default, you can also create your own set of objects, okay, to do this experiment. But in our case, I will go to the collector. Here is the collector. And in the collector, you will see because the opened data set memo is here, and they will directly input it here. So you can see that now inside this box is actually and all the memos, okay, included in the data set. All right, and then you can select randomly anyone from this box. Okay, here is the dataset memo. By default, you can see the setting is to allow you to select 5 items, and then you can have 3 samples. You can also select the option here without replacement. Okay, and here is another table, okay, to collect or display what you have drawn from this data, from this sampling, from this population. Okay, let's try it. All right, here is the result. So we can see 5 items in one sample, another 5, second sample. Okay, and then here 3 samples. Okay, now let's have a check. So this table shows you one collection. Sample size is 5, and then there are 3 samples. Okay, each sample, you can display the sample one by one. This is sample 1. Okay, we have the 5 items here, and all the informations are provided. You can collect it and see the second sample. Similarly, you can see the first sample. Okay, they're all put together into one big data set, but you can also separate it according to the sample. Okay, and inside the sample, you can also create a new variable. And now I create a new variable. I call it the sample mean. Okay. Now it is a new variable I created, and now I try to, yes, I can also shorten this one as well. Okay, and I have to define this new variable. So you can click on it and then edit the formula. And this is actually the mean. So mean is a function that you can make use of lifespan. And you can see the variable name appear here for you to select. So it is a mean of lifespan in each sample. Okay, so we applied it, and then you can see the result: 14.2, 29, and 25. So these are the mean of each sample. Okay. Okay, now with this variable, and okay, now we can draw another set of graphs. Let's see. Okay, we have a new graph. We click here. And now we can also draw the lifespans distribution in the new graph based on the 3 samples that we have. Now, but since they come from 3 samples, so you can use the sample variable to split it into 3 groups, okay, sample 1, 2, and 3. So each sample contains 5 data points. And for each of this, you can also display the mean and standard deviation, okay, accordingly. And you can see there's a rather difference of distributions here as well. Okay. Now, maybe you can also minimize this part, perhaps. Okay. And you can see this graph can be compared with the one above. You can also drag to make the range a little bit more aligned. I think it should be right now. Okay, so that is original data set, and these are the 3 samples randomly drawn from it. Okay, now when we can continue to do our experiment here, and maybe we can clear this data set and then start again. And this time we change the items to 8, and we make 10 samples. And you can make the process a little bit faster. Okay, maybe I'm drawing here, or even the fastest one, then you immediately see the result. Let's see the fast one. Okay, I start again. And you can also see the result accumulated in the table above, sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, and so on. So we have 7 samples, and then I think this is the more or less the end. Okay, 8th one. All right. So we have this different samples. And now we can adjust the graph. Okay. Maybe I can put it here, up there. And also make this one smaller and easier to read. Okay. Okay, I think it's more or less the same. All right. Okay, one more graph now. Okay, go back to this check this tool to make a graph again. For this graph, we are going to display the sample means here. This set of numbers. We have 10 samples, so we have 10 sample means. Okay, and then you can drag it here to form a new graph. And these are the individual sample means. Okay, and you can check against here as well. So this is the sample one, and the mean is 21.6. And here we have 21.63. Second sample is 45. And here we have the 45 here. All right. And now we have also this sample means displayed in one axis. And here we can also show the mean of the sample mean and the standard deviation of the sample mean. And all these now can be put together to compare. Okay. I think I can put it under here. And also adjust the scale manually, perhaps, to make them aligned. So by dragging the axis, then you can change the scale. Okay, now we can see the range, more or less the same. Now it is comparable. Okay, right. So this is the basic setup. If you want to try another data set, right, again, I mean the data, another sampling, okay, and we can go back to this sampler, and this time maybe we choose the item, the sample size to be 40, okay, and we can have 20 samples perhaps, okay, a little bit more, and choose the fastest one, then you will immediately see the result. Now I clear the data set first, okay, and then I press start, I will have the result immediately. Okay, I think it's finished, right? Rather fast, okay. Now I can minimize this one and also maybe enlarge a little bit this one to see the data set in the table. And here we have all these 20 samples and then individual ones on the right. You can click on this to expand individual one. Each one contains 40 items, okay? And so you can also minimize it here, for example. Right. Okay. So this is the display for the result. And then you can also now have a check of the result. And now you can see maybe more clearly, the sample means more, clustered together on around the original mean. And also you can see that the standard deviation of the sample mean is much smaller now. So they're much together at the center. Okay, so this is the experiment, and you can continue to modify it or discuss with your students. And finally, when you have finished, you can save a copy. Okay, you have different ways to save the file. You can put it in your own Google Drive, or you can simply share this one. So you can get a link to the share wheel. Okay, and then you can enable sharing. Right, they will generate the link. And so you can easily come back to this page anytime you like, and also use this link to share with your students. Right. Okay, so you can see the link and then copy it. That's all. All right, so I hope you will find it useful and then have a try with this sampling method. So this is the end of the video here.